Hello, my name is Destiny, and right now I am trying to come across bullying. I'm trying to let people know that you're not alone. Um, Ever since 2009, when I started high school, grade 9 was the worst year ever. Um, I basically the the bullying from today and from just a couple years ago is completely different. Um, Sometimes it can be more severe, that it can have more effects, that people, it seems that bullying is the only way that people can get by every day. And some people are afraid to even speak about it, but to tell you the truth, I'm not afraid, and I'm not afraid to tell people my experience. And it's basically, it goes from being called a certain name to getting slammed into a locker, or getting books slammed in your face when you're walking through the hallway, and then you're in music class and somebody hits you with a musical instrument. It's a lot of violence that comes with bullying. Um, and there's a lot of name calling and feeling unaccepted afterwards because you don't understand what you did, and then all these thoughts can, they like get into your brain, and you're just wondering, and you're thinking it over and over again, and you just can't get those thoughts out of your head, and you're just confused. And sometimes people think of suicide, or sometimes people cope with drugs and alcohol, which basically, I can't be a hypocrite. I've done that. I've tried suicide. I have tried to overdose with alcohol, well, try and overdose with pills and all that, and I just realized that it wasn't worth it. I ended up getting addicted to drugs. I was an alcoholic for a while. Um, but what I realized is no matter what, even though you get bullied, there is always going to be the good outcome of it. Even though it sounds like, man, this chick's crazy, she doesn't know what she's talking about, right? Well, I do know what I'm talking about. And there, today, today somebody could be just sitting down and contemplating on their life. Any day, any minute, somebody could. And that's what people don't realize, is that how serious it is. It may be just a thought, and then that thought turns into actions, and showing by their health. Somebody could be really, some, it's just all, I don't really know. You can show it in your skin, sometimes your face, like sometimes your face will change, and your hair, if you don't shower well because you're depressed or something, or you don't shower at all for a while, people will take those signs and reconsider what's going on, and they'll start getting worried. Um, or the way that people are eating. I'm a bigger woman. I like food. I can't lie about that. But then there's some people who, with bulimia or anorexia, and it all has to do with some kind of role model, or some peer pressure, or just even feeling like they need to do this to belong, and so they can stop, so people can stop bothering them. And that's what basically causes and makes these things happen. Like, I have close friends, and I have a sister of mine who's younger, and she's already contemplating on her life, and she just started high school. This is 4 years of going through these emotions and fears, and sometimes you just need that friend to go and speak to and have that trust. Now, when I was just starting high school, I ended up going into the wrong crowd because I thought that I would belong, and then people would stop bullying me, and I never had a boyfriend ever. I only fantasized about what it would be like to have a boyfriend. And since grade 9, I remember my first boyfriend, and he wasn't the greatest. I ended up having to go to court over him, and it was just hectic. So ever since I was in grade 9, I've had trust issues myself. And the people who sometimes are afraid to speak out, I was afraid to speak out. My own mother, in fact, works for victim services. So just imagine me speaking to my mom. Well, oh, hey mom, guess what happened to me yesterday? Yeah, don't worry about it. Just see my mom for this. And she was freaking out. She did not act like my mom at all in that situation. So it felt like I had a counselor, having to talk to a counselor in my own home 24/7, and I was afraid of that. So I ended up feeling guilty for even talking about what happened, and I still do in a sense because, well, first boyfriend, right? What are you supposed to do? I didn't even know how to act. I was just scared, and it was a good learning experience, but unfortunately that wasn't the only time I have had struggles with relationships. I remember leaving home because of the fact that I thought it was my fault, and I left home back in 2011, a week right after my 16th birthday, and I left home and I moved in with some complete strangers that I had no idea who they were, but eventually I got to know them and they seemed like great people. But there were struggles, there was everyday struggles, and then it was about, oh man, I didn't go home back home with my family until Thanksgiving. So that was from the first week of July till Thanksgiving, which in Canada that is in October, not November. So there was that time away from my family that I struggled with, but I still wasn't ready to go home. So when I came home, I eventually ended up leaving again, and I left for about, oh man, I can't even really remember. I left for, well, since last June. That's what I remember. It's just last June in 2013 is eventually when I decided it was the right thing to do and go home for myself. And being on the streets is not easy, especially when there's like everyday fears of, am I going to get jumped tonight? Am I going to get beat up? Is somebody going to come and steal my stuff because I barely have anything? Well, what am I going to do for food? I don't have money. I'm not on assistance anymore. I don't know what to do, all these questions, and just frustrating. But eventually, it felt like God was there all the time, and it felt like He was telling me to push forward, to be strong, and use my stubbornness that I have and get through it. So I ended up getting through it, but I remember there was a lot of struggles and problems that I went through just to get where I am today. And it's not easy to speak up after being victimized. It's not easy to speak up when you're getting bullied, but I'm doing it because I think it's the right thing to do, and maybe my experiences can help other people. So that's what keeps me going. Also, my siblings keep me going, especially when it got hard. I mean, every time I felt like life was over and there was no point of existing anymore, I would always think of my siblings and how it would have affected them if I chose to go down and hurt myself to the point where there was no point of living. So I got through it, and now that I'm back, I told myself as soon as I got back, Destiny, you are going to go to school, you are going to lose some friends, but in the meantime, you're going to make yourself healthy, because those friends are bringing you down. So I ended up deleting close to 500 people off Facebook just so I could start thinking clearly and I could be myself again. And I've never been myself, so this is a new me, and it's not somebody who I don't do drugs anymore. I don't drink. I go to church every now and then, and that's what else I told myself is I'm going to get myself better. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make sure that I'm going to get through my schooling and have a positive relationship with my family. And since June, I think I've argued with my parents maybe 3-4 times, and that is way better than every day than I used to. But since April 1st, I am a now grade 12 graduate, and I'm currently looking for employment, so I will keep you guys updated. I just would like some feedback. So, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to hear from you guys. Thank you.